midnight. This is a podcast where we talk about life and its many pursuits of sustainable happiness. I'm your host, Madame Donut. Now, I have a word of warning. You've heard this before. This podcast might make you hungry or horny or both. But if you get a little naughty, don't you worry about it. As long as you put the kids to sleep on time, I won't tell. Now, tonight though, if you get hungry because of our podcast, I'm a little sad to say it's basically like we're teasing you. You might just get blue balls thinking about the food that you could possibly have had you gone to see them before they closed last Saturday. My guest tonight is the power couple behind Haolepeños. Haolepeños was a beautiful Mexican food truck that offered upscale Mexican food made from scratch, utilizing sustainable, local grown produce and ingredients to serve you some of the best that Maui had to offer. Now again, it's like I'm teasing you, but because they're closed. They closed last Saturday and I got the chance to see them one last time before they said goodbye. But every time I think about a door closing, I also think that it's just another opportunity to open new doors. So, I'm very excited to have my friends tonight to join us and talk about their journey. Please welcome Carrie and Chef Jesse Trujillo. Give me a moment here. I have too many strobe lights going on and this happens to me all the time, and I ask everybody if they have any epileptic seizure like tendencies that if you didn't before you might start having that in the show. But thanks guys for coming, and I will pour us another round, but thank you. And I know we were talking about like you guys, it's probably like past your bedtime, so thanks for staying up with me tonight. It is, after all, Madame after midnight. So, it's technically not midnight in Hawaii, but it's midnight somewhere.
Always.
California. Right? So, anyways, guys, I hope you got some sleep since Saturday. Because normally, before you had to close, you didn't sleep. So.
Not always. Last night I got some really good sleep finally.
Yeah, so congrats for that.
Felt good.
But yes, okay, so Haolepeños, please tell us about that, because I mean, for people who've never been to Haolepeños, I feel like I am so sorry guys, you missed out. I mean, you guys were open for a good couple years, right? Since you opened.
Oh, we just had our 1 year anniversary on May 21st.
May 21st.
Yeah, May 21st.
Oh, so yeah, Chef, if you don't mind, like.
Yeah, a little closer.
Yeah, a little closer, at least just like project like where what do you call them? I was just thinking about this. God damn it, Shakespeare. We pretended we're Shakespearean.
I've got it.
So yes, like you're expediting and like this freaking silly cook is not hearing you. It's like, hey. Anyways, yeah. So thanks for coming. I was actually I was already thinking of having you guys on the show. Anyways, prior to tonight. But of course, I wasn't expecting that when I had you in the show, it's to announce that you actually closed. So. Again, I wanted to talk about you closing as we're really most of the time when we talk about closing, it's like, okay, it's sad news, and while it is sad that people are not going to be having any Haolepeño meals, in the future, or at least in the near future, I was really excited that you're finally getting some rest, of course, and also have this opportunity to kind of rethink something that you started that was huge, and your commitment to making sure that high quality food, you're utilizing really good ingredients that, it's not everybody would do it, because first of all, obviously you make less money, generally speaking, if that's the purpose of the business, which usually that's what it means. Right? But with you, it's really like just a labor of love. So tell us, either of you, talk about how you started Haolepeños.
Chef. I've been cooking forever, but I've worked at a lot of places. But I think over the years you get tired of cooking everybody else's food, and eventually you want to kind of show everybody, or at least cook what makes you happy.
Yeah.
What makes me happy is just cooking stuff I grew up with. I'm half Mexican, so grew up making tortillas with my grandma. My dad always cooked for us, and my mom's an amazing baker, so got the baking side from her. And just wanted to cook something that makes me happy to cook.
Yeah.
Wanted to get something going. That was mine. Tacos were the best option out here. Not much good Mexican.
Yeah.
There's some good Mexican, but
we're quite a ways from like the real source.
Yeah.
So, but that's what you grew up. You grew up where?
Grew up in Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah.
And Carrie, what's your background? Because you're not the creative force behind, like the food wise, but I think you contribute so much to Haolepeños and in your way, and we were talking about that and how everybody's got their own genius and like what their input is in a project. So I mean, just looking at you obviously, and I know Carrie, we're like the color behind, like I mean, nothing against Jesse or anything because you're amazing, but
anybody
but we
knows me knows what you're saying.
yes.
I'm basically the man in the van, man. Like, I just support him. He's Batman, I'm Robin, and whatever he wants to do, we just make sure it happens on social media and on the website, and the designing of the truck, the designing of, like, the Aztec wheel. That was something he used to see in his grandparents' house when he was a kid, and so we made him one, and Maui Graphics Company was awesome.
Yeah, I use them too for
my
They're
so good.
They're so good, super efficient, by the way, and I'm probably gonna have them on the podcast as well because I love supporting other small businesses that are like doing great, super efficient with their work, and gosh, they were timely.
They're always on top of it.
They're on top of it.
She was amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. She really brought like everything I created to life, and we couldn't be more proud and happy of how all that turned out. Looks awesome.
Before I forget, in case I do forget, Carrie actually was the one who designed or redesigned my most recent update on the logo. Because Carrie and I worked together at Donut Dynamite, where she actually did some of the you vectorized the what looked like sweet potato. Because originally the painting didn't have a donut that really represented what I made. It was like a generic donut, really. And at the time, I was still trying to, figure out what I was doing. So I didn't have that, I didn't even request that from the artist. And in fact, I let the artist just kind of do his thing. I didn't even know what the painting was going to look like until we picked it up, which was kind of fun. But during the pandemic, the onset of the pandemic, I thought I wanted to really get in touch more with the meaning of Donut Dynamite and the donut that really I think made Donut Dynamite Maui, and that was the Mulake sweet potato, and he did that for me. So guys, if you see the most recent update on the logo, that's Carrie's work. So thank you. So yes, yay for Carrie. And that is what you bring into the business. I believe you're like the front person, and I mean, we talked about this how she can get away with anything in the front,
And anything I need, she's always making it happen.
Yeah.
Worked out good.
Yeah, and I
We
think
had fun with the community involvement. Like with you, we did Ding Dong Donuts.
Ding Dong Donuts,
You.
Carrie. Carrie put that together. If you guys did, tell us about the Ding Dong Donut, because that was your idea. I mean, you came to me and you're like, I have this idea.
It was just like at the start of the pandemic when everyone was having kind of a rough time and everything was super uncertain and people were scared and people were down and nobody knew what was going on. So I feel like we both kind of came up with it. But every week we would have people that were nominated and we would draw names, pick them out, and they would get surprised, Ding Dong Donutted.
Yeah.
Madam's Amazing Donuts, and we filmed it, and it was just so much fun to see the look on people's faces who were making a difference during those uncertain times.
Right.
Get a tiny little bit of a reward for that. So
going into their homes and
that was
surprising.
fun.
Yeah, that was really cool. I mean, you mostly came up with that idea. I just kind of contributed in some way, but you were the one going out there and bringing joy to people through.
He drove.
Yes, that was definitely an interesting time because it's kind of okay, here's the donuts. I can't hug you. Goodbye.
Right.
And it was.
They were all really appreciative though.
Yeah, we made this one more thing, right? We made do with what we had. Okay, if this is what we can do, bring joy by here's a box, but we can't give you a hug, but this is kind of our hug in our way, you know, and just thanking you for what they do. And I mean, you've always had that, like, sensitivity to that and community and giving back, because you've had so many other projects outside of Haolepeños even. You know, you work with kids. You started this shark awareness program, or even we're talking about a book, and I mean,
It was a while ago.
that's a while ago, but that's, to me, is a testament to what you are as a human. Like, it's not about, it's always about community or educating people and just bringing awareness to something that I think uplifts people spiritually, but also, like, you know, as people, as our humanity needs some, you know, people like it.
I mean, I think we're just grateful to be here. I mean, we got to spend a decade on Maui, and we got to be a part of this community. How do you not want to be a positive part of this community and want to give as much as you possibly can back to it? Like, it's special. We're gonna miss it.
Yeah. So tell us about how you came to Maui. And actually, let's go back to your romance. Okay, sorry. So you guys
Kind of the
met.
It's the same story.
Same story, really.
Yeah. But you met on a cruise ship.
We both signed up to work on a cruise ship that goes around Hawaii at the same time, and we met in Maryland. There's like a training program out in Maryland, and met out there. And yeah, that was the end of it right there.
And you were cooking on the cruise ship,
Yeah, I was cooking.
and you were a bartender.
Bartender, as always.
Hey, she's always like the
Yeah.
party. She's a bringer of the party. Okay.
So we were working on a cruise ship for a while, and it just wasn't for me. Just I couldn't stand it, and eventually she jumped ship with me, and we
Did
took
I
off in Kona.
tell you a jump ship?
Yeah, we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we do, apparently. We're not happy with the cruise ship. It's literally just jump ship. That's
Wow.
kind of like the only way you can escape, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
You guys are artistes, you know,
Yeah.
that crap.
So how long did you work on a cruise ship then?
How long did I make it?
I don't know. I made it 28 days before I got written up for insubordination and left.
Oh my god, I got written up all the time
I think
too.
I made it maybe. I got there before her, so I think I was there like 3 months or something.
I think
like
so.
that. Not very long.
Okay, yeah, just
Yeah.
a few months.
It
That's all you
wasn't.
need.
It wasn't for me, no.
Yeah. It's I always call it like the floating high school, and it was just an interesting kind of management. But I mean, some people love it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I mean, I've met some lifers on the cruise ship. In fact, I jumped ship from, like, just long story short, I jumped ship from Sitka, Alaska, and then moved to New York, like, you know, drove to New York from, like, my escape and all that stuff. And that same cruise ship went to New York while I was living in New York. Years later, like
Wow.
maybe a couple of years later, and I heard about it, so I went. And pretty much most people that worked there when I was working there were still there. And of course, the look on their face to see me go on the cruise ship to visit, and they're like, "Oh, you were wanted." Basically, apparently, when I left, there were like literally pictures of me in the gangway. Like, have you
For
seen her?
championship?
Because I
Really?
jumped ship. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yes. I've been an
I love it.
outlaw for like years now. It's great.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It was so much fun. But so you met on the cruise ship, and then this was what, like about 15 years ago then?
2005,
2005.
whenever that was.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
So then
what?
we came over to Maui for a little while, and kind of fell in love with the ocean out here and just Maui in general. And then went back to Colorado for a while to get our things together, get married, and said we'd be back in 5 years, and came back in 5 years.
Awesome.
Back
Wow.
in 2011.
11? Yeah.
Oh, that's when I moved here.
Yeah, 2011. Came back and then been here ever since.
Yeah.
Never thought we'd.
Never thought we'd leave.
Yeah.
Unless we were moving.
Yeah. So we're gonna go there because obviously it's a sad thing to, you know, to let people know that you guys are leaving the island, not just closing Haolepeños. Because let's talk about the success of Haolepeños, because that's why we're, as much as you're closing the doors, it's there's something really positive about it, because first of all, you learn a lot, you've learned a lot, but also knowing that you built something successful. I mean,
Absolutely.
you guys started from zero. I mean, crazy. So tell us about that, how you started Haolepeños. Obviously, it's based on the food that you grew up with and you wanted to make, but to start it in the pandemic, basically, I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah, I
It's
started.
crazy.
I mean, I wanted to do this for a really long time. Just couldn't come up with the funds or anything, and then started really trying to get serious in 2019 and got the business license. I was just going to build a small trailer, and as we went on, had some investors, parents helped us out, and just started really making the plans. And then the pandemic hit when I was already mid-planning and had already designed the trailer and everything. So at that point we were already so deep in, we just kept going and figured, it's a good time. I'm not going to have a job anyway.
Yeah.
I was working as a sushi chef. Job was over there, so.
Yeah. And you were working where at the time?
I was working a few places. I was working at Sanse's as a sushi chef and waiter, and then I was at Ka'ana Kitchen at the Andaz Hotel, and I was working at the golf course in Waikapu over at
Yeah, and it's funny that you said that because that is very typical of Maui life. And it is actually something that, it's nice that you brought that up, because sometimes people forget, like, they move to paradise and they think like, oh yeah, like vacation, but like, nope, it's so expensive living here. And that's why I think like you opening the business, and like you said, you're deep into it, so like you can't, back out, but the timing, it's like, okay, you weigh it, like, I know I started it, but should I, but you went ahead and used it.
Yeah.
And we figured both our industries were dried up for a while. I was a performing mermaid and a naturalist at the Ocean Center, and he was a sushi chef and waiter, so we figured it's gonna be a while before we're back to work.
Yeah.
So we might as well.
Might as well do the thing. Yeah.
Definitely came with challenges opening during the pandemic and everything, but I think overall, like, even with all the challenges and everything, it was a good time to just take a chance.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, actually it was, I think it's like, it was the best time to take a chance, because you can literally start anything. Like, the world's changed. So if you want to come up with something new, this is the chance. It's like, this is when people were more open and receptive to something new and different. Especially because restaurants are closed anyways.
They were, yeah.
So if anything, that made the food truck scene on Maui grow ridiculously. When I went to see you guys last Saturday, that was the first time actually I've been in Kihei in the evening. Yeah, like seriously, I rarely ever make it to Kihei anymore. So walking, because I parked not too close to you guys, and walking towards, I didn't realize how many food trucks are there in Kihei now.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. When I started, we had like a donut mobile, like a little trailer, right? And
Remember it?
yeah, right. Okay, this is one more thing. Like, Carrie remembers some of the donuts that I never made again. I've made once in the whole entire history of donut time. And you're like the strawberry.
I'm still waiting for it.
Oh, okay.
I'm still waiting for it, girl.
That's a challenge, because
Got
then
10
I get 10 weeks. I gotta bring that back. So it's cooler strawberry with like tarragon, like honey tarragon syrup, and then cream. I forget now. It's like kind of like a big cream cheese type.
Something
place.
like that. It was just amazing strawberry fluffy cloud heaven.
Yeah, so because I like to do specials, and I don't even remember why I had that. I think it was probably one of the first few times that I went and got full of strawberry, so I got really excited. But yeah, I'll bring that back just for you, Carrie. I'm going. So guys, thank Carrie, because I'm gonna have a special in the next few weeks, dedicated to Carrie, of course. But yeah, so when I started, hardly any food trucks were around, and it was quite inexpensive.
That's why I wanted to start one way back,
Yeah, and then it went crazy, and then now like to rent a pod, or what they call it, to rent the space, it's like it's like basically having a brick and mortar, you know. So that's kind of, I think, one of the challenges about like having a food truck on Maui. It's not like, okay, you have a food truck and you drive around. You can't actually. So how did you pick like your location? Because you actually started in Ma'alaya and then you had to move. Like,
originally, one of the main things I was looking for was someone that had electric hookups, because most food trucks run on generators. It takes, a lot of gas, a lot of time,
and
a lot of money, smells loud.
Yeah.
My main thing was finding somebody that had electric, and then of course location. And we were thinking over by the Ocean Center would be a really good spot. The landlords were amazing over there,
So nice.
Did they close? Is that what it is? They just decided to.
They had some issues with
Zoning, I guess, would be the way
the
to put it.
association that ran in zoning with food trucks and everything. So it had to be actually like attached to their building to have food trucks there. So it kind of took us out of the running, unless we wanted to like be
Build.
built in or partner with them. If we were partners with them, it would work out too. But it was just a weird zoning thing that didn't work out. But they were great landlords.
Yeah, that's good.
But it ended up sending us, we started looking around and actually got us in a location I think was really good for the business. It was down in South Maui Gardens where we're at
it's
right
beautiful.
now. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, if I saw that food truck, I wanted to. I mean, I was checking out one of their trucks. I was interested in posting up there. And in fact, years ago, before I had the brick and mortar, I spoke with the owners, and they even showed me the what do you call it, the blueprint of what they were building. And at the time, they had not opened Blue Door, the bakery, and they were talking to me about helping them out with the bakery in exchange for using their kitchen. So I was going to be in that space, and I was definitely considering it because getting a commercial kitchen is always challenging. Yes. But it's just at the time I was so I started doing dynamite, and I felt like if I helped them with their bakery, I knew how much it was going to take, like energy-wise, that I would have to push aside Donut Dynamite, and I wasn't, like, I had just left a job, and I felt like I left it so that I could focus on Donut Dynamite, not to work for another company. So I said no, but that space has always been, I mean, I've always loved that space, and their turtle, George. So I met George a few years back before they had that whole setup going. And so when you guys opened there and I went to visit, I was definitely thinking about it again. Like, oh, I wanted to be there. But to have this brick and mortar and then have a space, it's just, and I'm solo.
It's a lot to focus on.
We got lucky though. They're so nice there too. Like both of our sets of landlords have just been amazing people. And
because you hear so many horror stories about landlords on Maui. So that's really...
Luckily, I heard so many, I was able to avoid some issues.
Exactly, that's great. Yeah, right. Like learn from other people's mistakes in a way, or at least like, okay, you know what to watch out for, who to watch out for. So you moved to South Maui Gardens. How long ago?
I think it was
mid-February.
Was it January, February? Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
Around there.
Of this year,
Yeah.
So
just a few months, and it's like just getting started. Like Bo and his team are, like they endeavor to make it the Mama's Fish House of all food truck lots, and I mean it's got a good start.
It's like just getting going. There's a bunch of trucks that are opening on July 1st or right after, like beginning of July. There's a bunch just opening up.
Yeah, I see. I mean, I love what's coming up. And I like that the selection of the food trucks that's in that area is actually like really good ones.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know that there's so many food trucks and it's kind of like trying to weed through like, okay, a lot of them are actually corporate owned, right? Like they're riding through that, wave of the trend, but they're really making generic food, So I love that South Maui Gardens kind of stuck with like, hey, they know who's making the food. As you know, one of my previous guests also has a food truck in that area, so it's kind of like it's like a good destination for good food. And I think that when your neighbors are making really good food, it's gonna attract like the right kind of customer base. So yeah, I love that.
I like how picky they've been and how choosy they've been with the concepts, and
Unique
we're hoping
concepts.
to be just as choosy with the people who take over our concept. We're really hoping they continue that community spirit where they focus on local agriculture. Maybe they have some sort of program like ours to give back to hungry people.
So again, sorry, I get distracted pretty easily, as you know, but we're talking about Haolepeños, and you had your last day last Saturday. So I'm so glad I took a quick nap and drove to Kihei. I was like, I had some coffee. I was like, don't fall asleep. Back and forth. And I made it, and I was really excited to see you guys. But so you closed last Saturday, and so now you have the truck for sale. And tell me about like how you're getting through the exit a little bit, because
so far we only had a day off here, so
It is Monday. You had one day off, so
Yeah,
thanks for coming tonight.
Of course. I think we're gonna just kind of sit down and get our numbers together and attempt to hopefully sell it as the whole business because it's in a great location. It's people love it. It's been doing well. And
Except his recipes, because those are family.
Right. So,
That's
but
off
you
the
know, the
table.
setup, obviously.
it's
The
all ready to
marketing,
go,
the
but
name, the branding.
Oh, so you are going to sell even the name?
I'm attempting to just sell it as it is if somebody is interested, and if not, then we'll probably end up, selling it as is. We got a lot of people interested right now, so
Yeah.
a little more than I thought without really like putting it up for sale. We already
Yeah.
got quite a few people interested. So.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have built something there. So tell me about that because again, started from your idea of what you wanted to make based on your family recipes, and you've created your own. I mean, people know about Haolepeños. People know the kind of quality that comes out of that food truck. Like, it's not your basic like, okay, you're hungry, here's a $5 taco and go away.
I just, you grow up with grandma's cooking. It's not all like canned food and
Yeah.
just grew up eating all that. Like I want to just use the best possible ingredients you can, and Maui's incredible.
Yes,
So
yes.
you can't get any better. So just wanted to focus on local ingredients and helps the community at the same time.
Yeah.
Met some amazing farmers and got.
Oh my God! Tell us about that damn tomato, by the way. So, okay, before the show started, guys, we talked about this precious tomato that Carrie forgot to bring to the show. Tell us about that tomato, Carrie.
So big. You guys.
So big. That's what she said. The big tomato that you're missing out on. What did I say? You're gonna get blue balls out of the show because we're teasing you about food that you cannot have next week, and then we're teasing you about a big tomato that's not here. So.
Oh, it was so big though. It was so red.
It was a swollen tomato.
It really was. It was bulbous.
Bulbous. And this is from our friend.
Yes. So the lovely madam, as one of our congratulations, you have your own taco truck now, brought us a box of ugly tomatoes.
Yeah, I love that. I love
True,
that.
nothing but ugly.
I know, nothing but ugly.
So good. And this one doesn't like tomatoes.
I don't like tomato.
You
I hate
don't like tomatoes!
fresh tomatoes. I like them cooked and stuff, but fresh
Yeah.
tomatoes like a slice.
That
My
is
whole life
so
could never do
funny.
it, but I tried one of his just to see. I want to see what it tastes like.
Yes, of course.
Take a slice, best tomato I've ever had.
Yes. I love how he drops off some off-grade ugly tomatoes that won't sell at the stores, and I'm like, I keep looking at him. I was like, are you lying to me right now? Because I'm all over these tomatoes.
Everything he farms is good too. I mean, right now he's focused on tomatoes, but he grew me some jalapenos, he grew me
Yes.
some peppers. They were
Yeah. Have you
So
been to the
green.
farm?
favorite. Yeah.
And they're
I go up there
moving
a
to
lot,
this
yeah.
new lot that's just gonna be
Yeah. Just
oh
tell me about it.
gorgeous. So I'm really excited.
Oh,
But
yeah,
yeah,
it's awesome.
it's a beautiful farm that he's built because actually Joel, I mean, I'm gonna send if he's not watching tonight, I'm gonna send this to him anyways. But he was a jewelry maker, and then of course pandemic happened, and obviously we're all kind of have other things that we can do, multi-talented if you will, and he got into farming, and then during the pandemic he just kind of like, you know what, I'm really gonna focus on tomatoes. But yes, I brought you tomatoes when you just opened, kind of like sharing it because I was using them for the soup and toast kitchen, but I'm like, well, I can only make soups, because really he was sharing them with me, so I felt like it's either I'm sharing them through the soups or people that can use it, and obviously you make your own salsa, so I was like, I totally use this. So, but you were telling me the other day how that kind of, I mean, not that you weren't already into making sure that you're supporting the local farms, but that kind of like, in a way, kind of started that not goal, but like kind of
Yeah,
got
it's just,
more into.
I mean, just the quality of it, and there's just, you can't get any better than that. And he introduced me to a couple other people and other stores to go check out that might have some local product and
Yeah.
just everything. Ulamalu Orchard
Yes,
up
yes,
there
yes.
too. Got all of our tomatillos
So
fresh, incredible. And Malama Farms pork is
Yes.
the best pork in the world. It's
First of all, food trucks with Malama Farm Kurbota pork, it's ridiculous. So I mean,
it's
seriously,
almost stupid ridiculous.
it's stupid ridiculous, but this is what we do. That's why it's special,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, I remember Carrie talking to me about like your schedule and how, I mean, I wanted to talk about that. How I've been more open about it, especially recently, about the fact that I did not have a day off when. Before the pandemic, I slept where you're at. Like I had the futon. I'd nap for a couple of hours, and then I'd get up and make dough, and nap again for a couple of hours, and then fry donuts. And then you had that same lifestyle, right? And Carrie was, of course, worried about you should get you a little bed for the food truck, you guys. This is real, you guys, and this is the thing. That's one of the reasons why I wanted us to talk about this, because there's a lot to be learned, and I think a lot of people get into starting their businesses without thinking about these little details, and you just think, we have this, we romanticize, our passion, and like, okay, I want to make what grandma used to make, and it's great, but you have to have a good backbone for it, because if you can't back it up with hard work, it's just, may as well make it a hobby, right? And that you made a business out of it, and you built it to a point where not even a full 2 years later, we are in a position to sell it, and people are very interested in what you created. So, yeah, so Carrie was like, oh my God, he's sleeping on the ground, I'm so worried about him. And then you're like, who cares? Why am I doing this? And she's like, you should talk to Madame Donut. She used to do this. Because there's very few of us who will put in the hard work and last. Because, and that's why you see people like, see, this is the thing. What I love about you guys closing is it's not because like you didn't make it, or you got tired of it, or you just feel like this is bullshit. Like to the very last hour, this is something that you're so proud of in building, and you kept grinding. I mean, that's amazing.
We proved without a doubt that people want quality food made with quality ingredients, and they're willing to pay just a little bit more for that. Not everybody is, but that's fine, because not everybody likes everything.
Yeah, it's
it's totally
not
fine.
everybody's on market, but the ones who do, they continue.
They're
and
waiting.
They wait, and they come back. It's actually really interesting, because I kind of learned the same thing too during the pandemic. I was like, who's gonna buy? I think my donuts are worth the price for sure. However, during the pandemic, you start questioning, like, does anybody want tacos with puro pork?
$7 tacos. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
That's
It
a lot
is.
for like what people know of as tacos. Like my donuts are like,
There's a
how
difference.
much for a donut? But then once they know what it is that you're offering, people who appreciate it come back, and they become loyal customers pretty much for life, really. So I mean, that's what you built in less than 2 years. That I'm like super proud of you guys for doing that. And I know, we were talking about the schedule, and it's like, holy fuck, I can say that. That it's not for everybody.
It's not. It's a lot of hard work. I think anybody that's truly passionate about the food is going to want to do it a certain way. I would recommend anybody that's starting a business, maybe think about starting as a boss and not your only employee, if possible.
Yes. Because you started on your own, and you had I mean, you were working the front, and you were expediting and stuff, and
Oh, I had some help along the way for sure. Carrie's always there. Had some great prep cooks and stuff, but it's a lot to put on yourself. But I think a lot of people like the way you do it. There's only one way to do it correctly, and why do it any other way?
Yeah, I mean, in my case, I reduced the days, obviously, from 6 days, and then not doing, when we first opened the shop, we had a lot, or quite a few wholesale accounts. And the thing is, we tried that because I think that, generally speaking, when we think about growing a business, we respond to that. There's demand for it, so we think we gotta make more to fulfill the demand, and it works if you're trying to, create bulk. But I realized after doing that it's not really the path I wanted to go. Obviously you gotta hire more people, and you know how it is. It's really hard to find good people, and you're talking about your staff, and they're amazing. It's great, it's lucky, and then you find the people who stay because they get passionate about what you're doing, because they see that it means something, But it's hard to find really good people, and then the wholesale for me, it's like you're just making enough to keep it going, but really with all that extra work, it's not really efficient. However, in the beginning, it was a great way to get our product out there. So it did its job, and then when I realized, like, you know what? people will come here. I have customers who come all the way from the Pili to get their donuts on Saturday. And, like you said, they'll pay for a $7 taco because they know what it's about. So I just kind of like I said, if I cannot reach everybody else that wants to pay like $1 for a donut, I don't care. I'm doing what I want, and it's more sustainable. So let's talk about that. Like, the lifestyle is definitely crazy, right? So we want to talk about how to sustain, creating and building a business like this. And this is the thing that I think most people need to understand, that the first couple of years,
Yeah. You just have to expect it.
you just have to expect it. If you're gonna give up the first year or two, well, then you're not gonna get anywhere if you want to open a business. So you did that. So moving forward, okay, let's talk about like what you learned and certain things that you feel like, okay, I didn't expect that, because again, I'm hoping we can share some insight for people to kind of move forward with.
I think from the beginning, I knew I kind of set myself up for insanity, because
Yes.
I just wanted to cook everything I thought was delicious and just feed people.
Chef's
Thank you.
lessons.
Just wanted to feed people what I thought, they'd enjoy. So I made a pretty insane menu the first week.
We can't help it.
First week I couldn't help it.
It was
I knew
amazing.
it was stupid, but
But
tried that out,
we had
and we just kept simplifying until it was somewhat manageable. It's still a
Not
pretty
pouring very well.
large menu for everything from scratch. But I think, I just would recommend definitely starting out simple, keeping your products very
Yes, simple. Simple is hard. Simple is hard when you get so passionate about it and you're like, especially because you can't help it, like, what can I do? What can I create? Oh, yes. She's actually the real, like, you're a pro. You're probably looking at my pour and you're like, girl, make
No,
donuts.
you did great.
But, yeah, like, simplifying is really hard to do when you're like, have this crazy imagination of what you can possibly do, because you know what you can make. But to make it for a business and
days.
days, I know it takes me 2 to 3 days to get ready to open one day.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm by myself, and holy shit, that's one thing that people don't understand. They think you're working when you open a door.
Yeah.
Silly people, silly people. If that's really what you think.
I think a lot of people think, maybe an hour or so ahead to get there, but if you're doing everything from scratch, it's
Yeah.
24 hours a day.
Yeah, that means you sleep on the floor. I think we all have done that,
Yeah.
and it's just what comes with it. And if you're not okay with that, it's and you like to cook, maybe make it a hobby and build your career based on something else. And I'm not being condescending, but it really is something that sometimes, a lot of times people don't understand. Like, the passion is great, but you have to have the grit and the backbone for it. Because when it's not just about the passion and the food that you're creating anymore, and it's hard, you're gonna forget about why you started in the first place. So I'm glad that you kind of stuck it out until the end, which is really more just opening another door. So again, back to Haolepeños, and you close the door. I just want to clarify, people, you did not close because you failed.
No.
No. Like I said, you built something really great in less than 2 years. And you were telling me about, something happened, but then you were in the process of actually getting a new investor and moving forward with Haolepeños.
Oh, we weren't even close to planning on closing. We had flyers printed up. And,
Yeah.
just personal health issues and stuff.
Yes.
And just going to head back home for a little bit and try to get healthy.
And get better.
We got some other plans and ideas to, like you said, moving forward positively. We're just trying to move forward and learn everything we can from this and
Yeah.
open the next business even better.
Yeah. So can we talk about that? Like what Carrie, it's what happened with the health issue and is that something we can talk about, or?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Slightly. I want to talk about more like the next steps, but I think one of the reasons why I want to bring this up is because I also want to talk about the happy ending. the fact that it is ending in a way, in a happy note, that you were successful in this endeavor. and that is something that you can bring with you anywhere you go from now on, you know. And your health issue is kind of, I think, something that I want to bring up because we are on Maui and it's a real issue.
It's true. It is kind of an issue that a lot of people don't know about on Maui.
Yeah.
Or know they have an issue with it. Or
Yes.
Or know they have an issue with. That's true. One of my best friends, when she was finding out what was going on with me, she was doing some research, and she found out that the death from mold toxicity is actually extremely high in Hawaii for infants and elderly people. So basically, I have an autoimmune disorder, and it kicks up every time I have a high amount of environmental toxins. And we've been on Maui for a little over a decade, and every place that we've lived, I've had to leave because of mold toxicity. The first place, the apartment below and kind of behind us, was condemned for black mold, and nobody bothered to tell us.
Okay.
And I was actually bedridden for 6 months. And we got an anonymous note on our door that actually saved my life. So whoever you are, thank you.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Somebody just told you to basically leave because
saying the apartment below us was condemned for black mold and nobody's doing anything about it. And she was so sick the whole time we couldn't figure out what was going on.
My hair was falling out.
Yeah.
My hair's falling out again, so that's why it's so thin. But yeah, so basically we had to leave that place, and they were really nice about letting us out of the lease, obviously.
Because they knew. Because they knew. Oh, holy cow.
And then the second place we lived was actually okay, but then the air conditioner got a bunch of mold in it, and it got increasingly difficult to get them to be willing to do anything about it. So we decided to leave, and then this place we're living in now was an absolute dream until we found a massive hole in the ceiling. And I've been pretty sick since December, and we haven't been able to figure out why. And basically just the toxicity has caused my illness to kind of go off the charts in the numbers. So we have to leave this unfortunately beautiful Hawaiian tropical climate for a while so I can dry out, get my illness back in remission, and then maybe we can come back and do something else.
Yes, so that if they have blue balls now, they're able to ejaculate later with the amazing food that you're going to come back and serve us. Because, sorry, did I just say that? Like the whole word of ejaculating.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. I was just saying that recently. I don't even remember what I said earlier today or yesterday about like something in a similar note of ejaculating. Like I think I ate some. Oh yes, I love foraging. And this morning we were hiking, and I just get excited whenever I see fruit and like wild fruit in the trail.
It's awesome.
I love that, right? So I'm like we were hiking, and I was just like. I almost said something, but like, anyways, I was thirsty. I was thirsty, so, and I didn't bring any water, so I figured like, if I have fruit, I'll be okay. I can wet my whistle, right? So I found some berries, but it was so funny because I put one in my mouth, and I was like, oh, that's like premature ejaculation in my mouth because it wasn't ripe enough. So, anyways, I just said that. I mean, I can't have this podcast.
Too green.
Yes. You know, I wanted it more plump than that. Kind of like the tomato that never made it to the show. Sorry, Joel. We were going to show off your plump tomato that's like red. And
it was
like
still firm after like a week in the fridge, too. Like, it blew my mind.
Aww.
It blew my mind.
I'll get more tomatoes from Joel, and I'll bring it here, even if you're not here, just to kind of like show him what kind of tomatoes he's growing and you know, helping you guys make the best salsa, basically.
I mean, that's another thing about Maui produce is the freshness of it and how much longer it lasts. Like, there's such a difference in not only quality but freshness.
How long it lasts.
People think you're spending all this money for local farmers product. It might be a little bit more, but if you go buy something from Safeway, it's going to rot in 3 days in your fridge.
And the flavor.
It'll last 2 weeks, plus the flavor's incredible.
I mean, you're a testament to that because you don't even like tomatoes.
It's true.
Raw tomatoes. Yeah. And it surprises me because I don't want to gross you out, but I eat the tomato like it's fruit.
For sure.
You know,
a little
like,
bit of salt and just down.
Yeah, I was like bite it. And that's like I actually have one of my tenants here is the same, which is odd to me, right? It's like he said he doesn't really like tomatoes. And so I was eating a tomato and looking at him, I'm so sorry. I was like, am I grossing you out that I'm eating this tomato like it's most delicious thing, and he's like, I'm not looking. So he said, but it was so funny because yeah, I had Joel dropped off some tomatoes and just like eating it like a fruit. I mean, technically it is a fruit.
It's a fruit. Yeah.
It is a fruit. But yeah, the fact that you were a convert to enjoying or appreciating raw tomatoes, it's because Maui is, I mean, we have the climate. And I think that's one of the things that I always wanted to talk about, or at least want to bring up to people, is that Maui is, like, can be a seat for sustainability, and the fact that we can grow most of our food, really, if we have to. So
It could be so much different.
it could be so different because it's such a huge issue right now that 90% or so of the food that we consume on the island, like, they're flown here, and it's like a newer culture, really, since I'm sure, like, the military, you know, I mean, like, spam, as much as, like, it's fun and it's a big part of the modern Hawaiian cuisine, spam is not Hawaiian. It's not even made here. But, you know, it became, like, such a staple, and I'm not against it necessarily, it's just that through that, like, embracing canned food and, you know, food that's being flown here, we forgot the root of, like, how people survived on this island, and how the Polynesians came here with real food, like kalo, you know, like. So, kalo, let's talk about that. You just mentioned, 'cause, I mean, this is how we get giddy about, like, the kind of food and the sources that we have here in Maui. Because we were talking about that, we're just like, oh my god, you have the taro, and, like, all these things that you have to enjoy before you move off island. And tell us about your little taro story.
Well, I have been kind of... See, he's the genius that actually makes the food, but I'm the one that, like, yells at him for certain creations behind the curtain.
Of course.
And one of the things I really wanted him to do was we had a lot of people requesting chips and salsa at the truck.
Yeah.
And it just seemed so stupid to me to use anything other than kalo, like,
Yes.
on this island. So I sent Hawaii Taro Farm a message, just out randomly. They don't know me.
Yeah.
And I just inquired about the price of the kalo because I wanted him to use some.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, they're showing up at the truck with a bag just for us.
50-pound bag.
Just here,
Amazing,
have
yeah.
it. Like, blew our minds.
Yeah.
So he made the chips and salsa, and they were so good.
I love
They
them.
were just
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then because we were gifted the kalo, we gifted all the money that we made from the sales to the Maui Food Bank, you know, to kind of keep that going. But, like, I just can't live without those chips, so we're gonna have to find a way
Yeah.
in Hawaii Taro Farm to get those chips
Yeah.
from Colorado,
Oh my
because
gosh,
I can't live without
well, if I
them.
had to,
They're
I'll
amazing.
ship you some. I don't even know how it works.
I don't know if we even can. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be expensive.
Expensive, but also I don't think we can ship.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Agriculture.
Yeah, agriculture. So shit, like, you have
So
to
much
ship you
better
as
fresh.
taro. So you have to find your
Oh, it's so
favorite
good.
taro chip brand, and that's the only thing I can ship, guys. Like, sorry. Yeah.
Let's
'cause-
come back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, this
it's
is
gonna
what
have
you're
to happen
coming
here.
back. So actually, that's an extra push for you to get better, right? So that you can come back for those taro chips.
One of
because
those
if you can't
things
live
that
without
keeps
them, you have
Maui
to come back.
Maui.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
one of those things that should keep Maui Maui
Yeah,
and be
exactly.
sacred.
Yeah, yeah, and so, and I love that, like, you were making your food based on your grandmother's recipes, but that's kind of the magic of, you know, recreating that, right? Is that, like, okay, now you can make the twist, like, you can put in the twist of what is more, obviously fitting where you are, so that it's authentic, and yet you're also, like, embracing what's here. Because I think that's sometimes I feel like a lot of people move to Maui, and the reason why, you know, they're not as happy here is because they want to impose what they knew, and then they come here and it's like everything's just the way they used to have them. And I think that's not how you move somewhere. If you're moving somewhere because it's beautiful, I think
Embrace it.
you gotta embrace what's being offered to you. And that's why you guys love it here, and that's why you have, I think, amazing luck, if you will, and you were so blessed here, is because you didn't move here and, like, okay, I'm gonna make my food and I don't care about anything else. But you really, like, embraced the local culture and, like, again, the sources, and, like, giving back. So talk about giving back. Like, we did the Ding Dong Donuts. This is one of your, like, ideas to give back to the people who were, you know, doing a lot of work during the onset of the pandemic, like teachers, nurses, like people on a front line and making sure that we're all healthy. And then you came up with the Aloha Mexi Grind. Sorry, yeah, Aloha Mexi Grind. So how did that come about, and what was the concept behind that?
Talk a little bit.
I think we're just always looking at any way we can give back. Just especially her, she's got a huge heart, always wants to give back.
I know. Carrie is,
Yeah.
I think you're all
I'm more businessman. But
I mean, you've got
enjoy
great
it
boobs,
also.
but really it's because the heart is so big.
The heart's behind it.
Yes.
But it just, it's a way we couldn't necessarily afford to do what we'd like to do and help everybody out, but it's a way for the community to get involved and help each other out a little bit.
Yeah.
We had it where you could purchase meals for people and they could just come up to the truck and get meals if they needed. Don't have to say much about it, just say Aloha Mexi Grinds, please, and just kind of make them whatever they want and
Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing.
help feed people. But
Yeah.
the community really, put it together.
How long did you do that for? And you actually had that going until the end. I mean, you said
Yeah.
you
Had them going on the last couple days.
In fact, whatever donations weren't actually, redeemed by people, we're just gonna cut a check to the Maui Food Bank so that
Whatever
money
it's
still
supposed to go.
feeds. It still goes to what it's supposed to go
Yeah.
go to.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That
But
is
it was fun. I really
Yeah.
liked that concept, and I hope whoever buys our truck might keep that going.
cool. Yeah, because that is one of the things, guys. Because I love that there's a lot of interest in your food truck, but it's not really just about like, okay, we can sell it to anyone who's interested, but you really wanted to basically hand over what you've created to people who care, because again, you didn't start this business just to make money. It's bringing in your passion, your history, your culture, your background, and like your heart. Really, you put your heart and soul into this business. And so hopefully the people who are going to take over, I mean, they're not just taking over physically the truck, but the heart behind Haolepeños.
Yeah, I'm really hoping if we do sell it as a business, someone will really, get as passionate about it as we are and really enjoy working with the community and take it over kind of how we were running it. I'm hoping.
Yeah. So yeah, basically it's not for sale if you're greedy. If you don't care about Maui, you cannot have Haolepeños. I don't care how much money you have. My friends are not selling it to you. But yeah, so that's just how it works. Sorry, But I love hearing that. So, anyways, you're gonna move back to the mainland and get better. So, I mean, to me, I'm excited because I don't really think. That's why I'm actually like excited to have you guys here tonight, because I don't feel like I'm really saying goodbye. It's really more like you created something that's really amazing for the short amount of time that you did with the crazy freaking time that you started it. It was a fucking crazy time. It's again a testament to your heart and the backbone that you had and your commitment, that I have no doubt in my mind that when you come back, you're gonna create something even more amazing. And whether it be here right away in Maui, like wherever you go, I feel like this is something that you're gonna take with you and bring with you into anything that you do, really. Because I don't think, especially at this point that you've proven to yourself and to other people that you can build something like this, now you know that fuck yeah, I can do this.
Definitely learned some things along the way to make it a little easier for next time, hopefully.
Yeah, so give me like a few things that you think that like, okay, tweaking wise, because first of all, again, people, we did not sleep, right? So one of the things that we know that you need to do is gain weight. We had that
I need
conversation
to
the
eat a
other day.
sandwich and take a nap.
Yes, take more naps so you can finally sleep.
Yeah.
Enjoy your meals and sleep. Gain a little bit of your weight back, because I mean, again, this is part of opening a business that you're putting in your heart and soul into. It really is going to take over your life a little bit, and if not a lot bit. You did that, and then the next step is like not living like that forever, because sustainability is making sure that you're healthy. I don't care how much you want to make amazing food. We want you to continue making. Yeah, we want you to continue making great food. So if you can't sustain it, then you'll just honk out. We don't want you to do that, because we want more food from you. So what are like you think like the key things that you need to like make sure that you change the next time around?
Kind of like I was saying earlier, the menu, I just need to simplify a little, maybe cut things down, make it a little easier on myself. You have more time to focus on the product anyway. Each product can be very consistent,
More
and
focused,
I think just going in with maybe a little more funds next time from the beginning instead of scratching them together would be a good way to go. So you can start with the staff you need from day one. Would be a very helpful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you also have created this, so I think the funding will be a little. I mean, I don't know if life is hard, but like because you've proven yourself. I think, especially with Carrie here, who's the shark talker. Wait, not just like real sharks, by the way, but like the shark people. I mean, she represents the real sharks. Like she loves the real sharks, and then there are sharks who you can talk to. And again, this is like the magic between your partnership. I think is that. I mean, just kind of on the surface, we already know you're the chef, and you're kind of like the artiste. Leave him alone. He's busy, and then Carrie basically is your stage wife, which I love because I think that's where we, like I said,
Very
everybody's everybody's got their own talent and expertise and genius, and that's what makes teams like successful teams work. Not everybody should be the lead singer. Right? In the band, you have your drummer, you have everybody's got a position to kind of uphold and make sure that you're doing it right. And
you can't do it all yourself.
You can't do it all by yourself. I try to, but that's why I'm still here. And I'm still here because I try to, but it's hard. It's really hard. But even I work alone, but I feel like I do have probably not quite a team, but like I do have a lot of resources. I have a lot of people who support me, whether it be like my friend Tiffany. She comes on, she doesn't need to work here, but she comes help me on Saturdays, and actually Carrie helped me out a lot until you opened your food truck and then you sold it. I'm just kidding. But we have support systems, and that's very important. And you for each other, then you've been that for each other.
Yeah, he started it. He supported me being a marine naturalist, and supported every single dream I had, and it was his turn. And as I always tell him, not everybody wants to be a mermaid, even though it's really fun, but everybody wants a taco. And
I love that. And everybody wants to be a mermaid.
That has been true. And with his palate and with his background, with the way, his mom, the baker, his Japanese stepfather, his 9 years of sushi, his Mexican
I love
heritage.
your background, by the way. I'm sorry, but if I look at you, I just see a white man.
Oh, everybody does.
Completely how
Well,
not to be like,
I'm
not trying to be mean or anything, but I just see a Haole guy making Mexican food and makes sushi. Like, what the fuck? What happened? Like, you don't look anything like your part.
I'm half Mexican, Spanish, and then the other side's like
Japanese.
German, pretty much. And then my stepdad met my mom when I was like 1 year old, and he's full Japanese. His mom's from Hilo, so I grew up eating tons of Japanese
And you're a
around
sushi
Japanese
chef, so
culture,
it's
and
like
sushi chef, yeah.
you grew up
eating yakizakana when I was like 3 years old.
Yeah, that's so wild. Like I said, and again, I love it actually because we have this we can't help it. Like I say that about my donuts. When you think about donuts, you think of junk food, and then I change the way you think of donuts because I present it and make it differently. So when I look at you, you're kind of like a version of the donut that I'm talking about. It's like on the surface, you're just like whatever, a Haole, but the substance behind that. Look, sorry, I'm not trying to objectify you.
I look very white.
You look very white. So to have that
I also
background.
don't get sunlight, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
He's reflecting from the lights.
I know. It's like
blinding
you do
the
not look
cameras.
like anyone who would make authentic Mexican food, but you do. And then you add your twist to it. Again, like living here and experiences that you can bring into your old culture. Because I think that's how we progress as humanity anyways, right? So people start something or build something, and then as we touch them, we make it our own, and that's what you did with Haolepeños. And I love that you just owned it. I'm fucking Haole, man, and I fucking add my peño on that thing. And which, by the way, we were laughing about that, like Haolepeño, and you get mail like hey, Mr.
Haole.
Mr. Haole. I was like, oh my god, that's hilarious.
You know, one of the things I told him when he started was the way he was having me design the logo was it was Haolepeños.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, every 16-year-old boy is going to be like, Haolepeños.
I heard it a few times outside the truck.
Holy shit, that's
Yeah.
before I had this podcast.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's very fitting for this podcast. I mean, you know, it's like, I love it.
We were thinking it'd be great for marketing though, because they'd buy our stickers and just write penis and slap them everywhere.
No, why
but
not?
we just, you know, didn't quite get to the stickers.
Not
We
yet.
kept-
But
kept
yeah, I mean,
making the food.
Because with all your talent too, with like the graphics, and this is the thing too, is like outside of the food, you both are very creative and talented beyond mermaiding and beyond making the food. It's like you did actually, I mean, you are an amazing photographer.
Thank you.
And you photographed us wearing mermaid stuff. I mean, you actually helped me out. This was so funny because when we did this photo shoot, you actually picked me up because Carrie got this extra small tail for me, and I'm like,
Extra small.
extra small. I'm petite, but I'm muscular, and like, you know, I got hips for like a little Asian girl. I got like thighs, right? I used to do Olympic lifting, so these.
Got some muscle.
I got
She's just
muscle,
so
and it was so funny because I have a video of you like
Oh yeah.
just shaking me into this mermaid tail. Oh my god, I'm gonna find that and I'm gonna
It was
repost
so
that 'cause
fun.
it's so freaking funny.
Shaking.
You were shaking me into oh shit. I know exactly which phone has that video. I'm gonna find that, and it's just so funny how like you did that, and then did the photos, and they're amazing, and I'm gonna, oh my god, I have
You
to
did a great job
Yeah.
on No Sleep That Night too.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh my god, you were such a great sport, and again, this is like your partnership is amazing for that. Like you were very supportive. Like seriously, most men would be like, holy shit, my wife's all about this mermaiding thing, wigs and sparkles and all this.
She's 40 for fuck's sake.
Holy shit! Like when
But
we
I'm
just.
still there. It's,
And it's amazing. We barge into your space, you know, I mean, early in the morning, because we started the shoot super early. And so, just the fact that you let us in there, like a bunch of girls with the sparkles and wigs and, I mean, shells and all this stuff. And, I mean, you were like, whatever, helping people get in their tails.
I mean, it's never a bad day when he's around a bunch of half-naked, sexy girls.
Exactly.
Like,
Walking
Can't
around
complain
that-
that much,
You can't complain. You know, but still, early in the morning, that's not the most welcome thing. You know what I mean? And I mean, I just
It's not
love
the
that.
best.
Like, yeah, you share each other's, like, you know, your talent. You bring into her mermaid thing. You know, you did a lot of the photographs, and you photographed Carrie a lot underwater. Like, again, that's one of the things that you love about Maui,
So
right?
fun.
Like, you are just about the ocean, and then you're moving back to Colorado,
yeah.
and you're landlocked.
It's going to be an adjustment for
It's
sure.
going to be an adjustment because you were telling me that the other day. Like when you go vacation back to see family, you're like, okay, I love you, okay, but bye. We're gonna go back tomorrow. So you're gonna be there for a little bit, but that's okay. It's at least it's home and there's family.
We're
Gonna
hoping
learn to
take some
rock climb, I
vacations.
guess.
Rock climb, you know, like distract yourself with new sport that doesn't require water.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, it's gonna be really tough. The ocean keeps me sane, and I'm a shark freak, so
Yes.
that's all kind of hard to find in Colorado. But I mean,
Yes, there's not gonna be sharks in Colorado.
I can think about what we're gonna miss, or I can think about what we've had so far.
Yes.
And not a lot of people get a decade in paradise. And I've gotten to do some really cool things.
Yeah.
I've gotten to do some really amazing things. Like I was able to save some dude, you know, from drowning. I got bit by a shark on the fin. Wasn't the shark's fault, my fault. Really cool story, actually.
Yeah, tell me about that, because I'm freaked out with the water. You know this, because we were talking about doing a photo shoot. It's like, I'm scared to get in the water.
Sharks
like,
are
I freak out.
amazing.
Yeah, but
Shallow water photo shoots are
yeah, I'm good with shallow water and spray me a little water. I'm fine with that. Like I'm not kind of mermaid where I'm not gonna go under the sea so much with crazy.
I love it down there. I can't talk down there.
Yeah,
It's one of
but-
the places I'm forced to be quiet. It's amazing.
Maybe I need that actually. People like the world needs that for me or something. Or like kind of shut up a little bit. But yeah, you're like a big proponent. I mean, when I first met you, you had the what do you call it?
Sharka?
Sharka. Yeah. Like yeah, and I love that because you even were talking about like and I mean you did a little. You were writing children's books.
Still working on it.
Yeah, and that's
Not a lot
what-
of time, but still working on
But
it.
see, this is the thing. This is kind of what I'm excited about this like little a turn of events where you were in a different path, or you thought you were, and then now it's probably like a good excuse, if you will, or opportunity to like work on some of the other stuff that you've been talking about, you know, because like I said, it took over your life. It just did. Like, you can't help it, and that's okay. We knew it. You understood what it took.
We knew it was going to be insane for a while.
Yeah. But you stuck it out, and freaking
He killed it.
Yeah, you totally.
Every plate he put out was so good. 5 stars on Yelp. Like,
yeah.
I gained 10 freaking pounds working at that damn truck.
And I was just thinking, your boobs look better, girl.
It's all Rianos.
Thanks for tacos.
Queso balls. Butterscotch.
I mean, she modeled like my Donut Dynamite tank top. And I was like, girl, the boobs look great.
That was donut weight.
Oh, that's donut weight. Okay, that was I think before the taco. Yeah.
Between the two of you, damn
We're
it.
helping the boobies out. I mean, hello. But yeah, like I again, it's the opportunity to like go back and kind of like, you know, you started something about the children's books, and I think like, you know, just something else, and then with the business and and getting into food again, and you're just I'm following your new page. Because you're stage wife here, creating a new page for you. Yeah. But then again, I love it. I love that support system that you have for each other, and I think that's really very important. I think I mean, first-hand experience to be like, you know, to start a business with your partner, it can be really tricky, right? And I mean, you guys are amazing, and I think that's why I call you the power couple of.
Well, it's not like we didn't have challenges along the way.
Of course there is, but that's what I'm
We had our
saying.
days.
You will, and that's what makes it even more powerful, is to go through the challenges and get past it, and the fact that when I hear you guys talk now about like the future, I love hearing that more love even. I mean, the other night when I came to see you guys Saturday, you're like, oh, I get to see his face more, and how nice is that? I mean, you've been together forever, and to be excited now that you can see him more. It's like, oh, I love that.
Still
You're
not sick of me yet.
Yeah, it's not, no, you're not sick of each other, and how great is that? Because half the time I feel like I'm gonna be single forever, because like now I love just like, for a tiny person, I take over my California king size bed, like I'm not sharing this bed. So I mean that is another funny story. Not that we need to talk about that, but like the fact that like you keep the romance going and that support for each other going. I just, you know, it inspires me, because I don't want to be that jaded, like, you know, divorced, like, woman is like, I'll never have to date again. I don't know. I don't want to be that, because then I see you and I think it's just amazing.
I mean, it could work though, because I got on the ship thinking I'm gonna be a floating Ernest Hemingway. I'm gonna write my novel. And I'm gonna have nothing to do with men, and then this asshole pops up, and I'm like,
good asshole, good asshole.
So screwed.
Yeah.
And it's just been that way ever since. And I mean, how can you not support this kind of talent? Like, whether he's working at one of the top sushi restaurants in Denver, or whether he's making his chilaquiles and chorizo burritos.
I had the chilaquiles
in Vail.
So that makes me happy. Yeah.
Like, he'll be successful and he'll be amazing. Like, you can't not be with a palate like that and a background like that. Like, I didn't even have an avocado before I met him.
Oh.
Like, it's true.
I mean, he is Mexican. Even if he looks so Haole, like, he is Mexican, so he knows avocado. So.
Yeah, I'm Haole bitches. Never had an avocado.
Yeah. I mean, you like Haole and never had an avocado. That was kind of expected, but yeah. But that's so cool. I mean, I love that. So one of the, I mean, not that you have to, you know, divulge what are your next plans, but what are kind of ideas, anyways, that, you know, after Haolepeño and.
Right now, I'm just trying to be really open to whatever opportunities present themselves. Probably start off with sushi just to get some money where we get going, get a job, get going, and then kind of make next plans from there. But we've been talking about a lot of ideas, maybe possibly brick and mortar with investors, possibly.
In the mainland.
Yeah, considering it, just kind of really depends. I'm just open right now.
Yeah.
Just gonna see what's next. Got a few ideas, but
We're not opposed to brick and mortars here. I just need a few months to.
Yeah.
Just
Fix
taking a
this
little
mess.
break.
And then the cool thing is, when you come back here and open a brick and mortar, by then you're healthy, and then you can choose your damn brick and mortar that doesn't have motherfucking mold.
Yeah, that is true.
Because I mean, if again, one of the things that we learned from this experience is that outside of the work is that we gotta make sure that you're healthy. Anyone, including you.
Yeah.
You gotta sleep. And you gotta get this mold shit out of your freaking system so that when you come back, it's all clean. You guys sleep. You start over with like you said, that includes like a proper staff.
Yeah.
Because you've put in the work and you now know what to expect.
Either a simple
once.
menu or a full proper staff.
Exactly.
Yeah, we just got like the start of an amazing staff when we got to this new location. Like that's why I feel so bad that we just kind of have to pack it all in. But our counter guy, Alex, amazing. If anyone out there needs an amazing Alex, I think Madam,
He's what does he do?
I think you might be snatching him. He's the one you might be snatching. For
Was he
some
the one I
marketing.
met the other day? Yes. I do want to
But-
talk. Well, this is the thing. And what I love about our community is that we are all so. One thing about Maui that's so special that I find, and that I've never found anywhere else that I've lived, and I think we all have moved around so much, that Maui is so amazing when it comes to community and how we've connected. I mean, something as simple as, like you said, like I brought in some tomatoes, and actually they were. I started buying tomatoes from him because our friend from Haolepeños Farms mentioned him, and so I reached out to him. So I think I bought a couple of cases or whatever, and then he just loved what I was doing. That is like, oh, I have like he had off-grade tomatoes, and he just started dropping them off, and he still does, you know. And a lot of times, as much as we need to make money in our business, we are all about just sharing. So I mean, on Saturdays when his kids, Joel's kids, they play a lot of sports, and so if they're in town and they're playing sports, I always tell them like, come over. I got donuts for the kids, and I mean the kids, of course. I mean it's such a treat, you know. So we continue to just support each other in that way, whether it be promoting them or bartering or keeping just that friendship, you know. And I just feel that. God, Maui is just so amazing. It like helps you grow as a human, not just in your business. And I mean, I've seen it happen. So I feel like if since you basically your staff, well, you know, with your shutdown, that I was I'm trying to rebuild the Madam's larder. So you know, obviously I have Donut Dynamite, but I feel like I'm trying to keep Donut Dynamite even more artisanal and smaller at the moment. I mean, I'm obviously going to grow it in some other way, but I really wanted to shift my focus to community work. So when you were talking about your staff, again, I have no idea we're talking about them right now on the show, but like, you know, but I feel like I would love to talk to them and see how we can work together, whether it be through the larder or some other way we can help each other out. I just feel like the talent here on Maui typically do very well because they love giving back to the community. The talent in other places, in other cities, is about rat race.
Yeah.
And you know, not to say it's not necessarily bad, like it's just you adapt to what is needed to survive where you live, right? So if you're in New York City, community probably isn't as important as the rat race because you have to survive on your own, not against any individual, but it's just how you survive in a place like that. But on Maui, the best way to survive, if it just be about that, is to really root yourself into the island and care about the community, because Maui will kick you out if you're not giving back in a way, in some way or another. And I don't mean like, oh, like no, you gotta do whatever community work and clean beaches, or that's not even it. It's just if you care about the Aina, it's magic. Something feels it.
For sure.
You know, the land knows.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's why I love that we're connected. Like I said, even something as simple as like sharing tomatoes, and then it expanded to like you getting introduced to other farms that you would love to work with, and then again like your staff. I don't know. I was mentioning it because if they're the kind of people who like to give back to the community, I just think that whether they work with me or not, I feel like we can all kind of connect and see where we can grow from there. Whether it be like again for my organization or for them, and then maybe I can introduce them to the people that use their services. So who knows?
Sure.
You know?
We got really lucky with staffing. Like in a time where restaurants are looking for employees everywhere, we got like the most amazing counter person in the world.
Yeah.
And then
Sous
his
chef.
sous chef.
Johnny Harper, Scout's Table.
But see, that's the thing too, is that if you're doing something amazing, these amazing people will want to work with you. Just in general, I think that's what you're going to
I was pretty happy to have my sous chef Johnny with me. He's headhunted from everybody on the island. Everybody wants him. Like, he's getting calls every day from people trying to hire him, and he was just loving the food we're putting out, so he stayed with us. And
Yeah.
he was actually like happy to be finally cooking something proper instead of half-assing and cutting corners. And
Yeah.
he was loving it. So
Yeah, and that is one
super
thing
lucky.
about the island sometimes. The negative side of being a tourist destination is that because you probably don't have to serve the same people. You probably don't have to serve them, so who cares? You know? But when you're actually trying to serve the community instead, you'll care about what you're putting out there because you want these people to come back. Because they're your neighbors, they're your friends. I mean, Maui is so small that we're all interconnected somehow. So if you then treat someone right, you know what? Their auntie might not be like them. You know what I mean? So I love that mentality of like always thinking about the community, how you're gonna serve them better, how we are also interconnected on Maui. So that's why I feel like, again, as much as it makes me so sad that Haolepeños is closed, meanwhile, I believe that you guys are coming back. And one way or another, I feel like this is just a pause. And I feel, even through the pandemic, I felt that way where it's like, I looked at the pandemic as something that, like, I get into the stoicism lately where it's like, some people think that things happen to them or it's just happening for them. And I feel like this is just one of those things, like when the pandemic happened, people were like, oh shit, like I have no control. Like, no. You can, put a twist to that and say, okay, this is what's happening around me. How can I take advantage
All
of this?
perception.
Yeah, it's all perception. And I really feel, this is my perception, is that this is just literally, I think, a way to reopen the door more efficiently and better for everybody, more sustainably, and everyone's happier. And that when you come back, you can actually give more because you can take care of yourself better. Because your health is very important. That's sustainability. That's one of the things that I felt that I'm so grateful that happened for me that I didn't even realize I needed. Because holy fuck, woman, you were there.
You were afraid.
You were here the last week before the pandemic in like, I worked like 22 hours a day for a week because, I brought out my former partner on a Thursday, was able to open for 1 week, and then they announced that we're going to shut down. And I thought, wait, as much as I was like, fuck, I don't want to close, I can't do that. And then I thought for a second, I was like, wait, if this pandemic does not kill me, this work schedule is going to. There is no way anybody should be working 20-something hours a day. And we did it.
You're the only two.
Right.
I did it way longer than I should have, that's for sure.
Yeah,
You
we
both
did
did.
too.
You
So,
both
I think
did.
it's a miracle that we both are sitting here drinking like, bubbly and like, hey, whatever, like way past our, way past our bedtime. That never happened
worth it.
really. We didn't have a bedtime. But yeah, but again, I think it's just so cool because it makes you really proud that you did it, even if like you shouldn't do it again. That's what I say whenever people come in here. It's like, are you ever going to open again 6 days? So we're like, fuck no. I don't say it that way, but I'm just like, no.
I want to live.
I want to live. And I get sometimes, like, after that, I get kind of protective too. Like, sometimes when people ask me that, I try to say it nice because, again, they don't know. Sometimes, a lot of times, when they're not in this business, they don't know what it takes. And also, if all they know is, like, a restaurant that's, like, whatever,
Turn
just
and burn,
turn
rose
and
water
burn.
beans.
They don't know what it takes to open a place that's artisanal. They don't realize that really all that extra effort of making everything from scratch, it takes motherfucking time.
It's
There's no
tortillas.
shortcuts.
Yeah, there's no shortcuts about making artisanal food. It's just that our culture now is not used to it. we have a generation or two of people who don't know that once upon a time in a village or whatever, everybody's specialized and that's what they do, and they make things right, things that last, things of quality. But now everything is like replace your phone in like a couple of months, and everything is like replaceable. Shoes don't last because things gotta be trendy. But artisanal food or any kind of craft that's artisanal, it's not about trend. It's about the workmanship, and that is one of the things that you guys proved that you can do. You did it successfully, and like you said, there is a market for that.
There is.
It's not 100%, and we don't want that. We want the 10% of the people who appreciate it, because this is the kind of work that we want to put in our time, heart, and soul into, and it has to be appreciated. So you found those people. So congratulations. Yes, seriously. It's crazy. I mean, I got to watch it, and I fucking understood the steps.
I think one of the best compliments that I loved to hear about his food was that, Mexican food is like pizza. Like, it can be cheap and good.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. Like
It
donuts.
can absolutely be cheap and good. Yeah, like donuts. But when you take the time to use the right ingredients, when you take the time to put the love into it, it elevates it beyond what people would expect.
Yes.
And I always got really excited. Two things. When people would come and like kind of look at the menu and be really suspicious and be like, and then they'd be total converts by the end of it. I'm like, that's right, my husband knows his shit.
Yeah, I love that.
And then it was the ones who, would just expect that it has to be cheap to be good. And just showing people how much better it can be with those elevated ingredients. Like just showing them that Mexican can be something different than what they expect. It can be fine dining. It can be elevated. It can be upscale, and just changing that stereotype and having people say, I don't feel sick. I feel so healthy after eating this.
Yeah.
That was like one of the best compliments I think we ever got, was I feel like I did something good for my body just now.
Definitely what I was going for.
Like,
finish a meal will be full, but you don't want to feel like you ate a pound of cheese.
Exactly. Like, I'm sick. Like, literally, like, yeah. No, I totally get that, and that's why I relate to what you guys are doing, because I kind of basically did the same thing, where I feel like, it doesn't matter what it is, you can label it anything. If you make it junk, it is junk. You know what I mean? But if you make anything like the donut or Mexican food, which is kind of funny, that again, it's like, it's not Taco Bell, you guys. Some people who think that Mexican food is first of all, if you think that Taco Bell is Mexican food, sorry.
I mean, there's some uproar over them Mexican pizzas. His dad is in a tizzy.
Yeah, like, come on, you guys. And but again, that's part of enculturating something that people don't really understand. And I love that, again, you brought back your classic family recipes, and they're real. I mean, how many places actually make their own tortillas anymore?
The flour tortillas, not so much. That's a harder one to come by for sure.
It's alive.
The chorizo.
Yeah, you can make your chorizo.
Labor of love for sure.
I mean, labor of love with amazing ingredients. It's crazy. It's ridiculous, and it's expensive to make.
It was, yeah.
It's so expensive to make artisanal food, not just for the time, but the ingredients that it requires to make them right. And again, I love that we're talking about this, because people need to know more on what makes it different. Because again, we were just talking about this before the show, like having my setup here with the cameras, and we we're talking about, like, if people saw the details and all the hard work that we do, and that's,
even your podcast here, it's a
the
lot of
book.
work.
Right. Like, this is like, this is very educational. You guys, you get to see the whole setup here. And again, it's like, there's all that social media, but what people are so used to seeing is that, like, finished picture. I'm kind of guilty of that as well sometimes, because I'm not guilty, but like, I felt like I don't share enough of what it really takes.
It's hard to when you're so busy.
It's hard because you're so busy, and I tried that too. I mean, I'm getting used to it. I gotta organize myself better, but I tried doing like live. I turn on, but then I don't know if you have the same thing, but sometimes when I'm working, he'll come talk to me. I don't know if you get. Do you get that? It's like
I thought about trying a live thing. My staff was telling me it'd be good for people to watch and you should give it a shot, but I figured the way I work, like, I wouldn't even be looking up to talk to them. Just check out and like.
I tried that, and then I get like, I'm sorry, I'm a bad life, like what?
Yeah.
And then I actually did a poll, and people said you don't have to talk to us, we just want to watch your work. So I'm like, okay, crazy people. But
I don't watch me work as much as you, but
yeah. I know. I mean, I'll wear like a bikini making donuts. It's probably gonna do really well. I'm just kidding. But I can do that on the podcast because this is the Madonna after midnight. I can do all that stuff with all my clickbait pictures. It's actually
here for it.
Right? Thank you.
Let's get
thank
that
you.
frosting.
Yeah. Hello. Woo! And it's so funny because I always talk about that. Like what's Madonna after midnight? It's like it's basically a clickbait page to talk about sustainability. I love it. It's like, hey,
Whatever gets you looking at it.
exactly. If you're gonna look at it and then you actually hear about the message, because that's kind of one of the things why I'm doing this podcast, right? I wanted to talk about topics that I think are important. You know, I mean, we can talk about vibrators and all this fun stuff, my new hair color, we can talk about that, or we can talk about beyond that. We can mention a good vibrator if you have a recommendation. Since I don't have a boyfriend, send me your best vibrator recommendation. I'd probably appreciate you for that. But that's not really the topic of this show. The topic is like people like you guys, and I really love highlighting people like you who are making Maui and Hawaii for like your contribution. That's why fucking get better so you can come back and feed us really good food, and even just your presence and how so you're such a positive spirit, and like again, like Maui embraced you because you really also embraced Maui in the best like loving and warm way. You're lucky, but we're also lucky that we had.
Yeah, really lucky. Like I got to do so many cool things. Like Maui Comics let me be a mermaid to talk about sustainability.
I wonder if
Maui
Maui Comics is watching right now because he just
Yeah.
because he's like, wait, did they close? I was like, aha, yeah. So I was like, oh my god. So he's just like, I gotta watch tonight. So
He's
yeah.
the only one that I hand delivered food to.
Wait, so you for Haolepeños?
Yeah.
delivery.
Yeah. He's my horror comic supplier.
Yeah.
You gotta hook him
Yeah,
up.
if you guys don't know what it's about, Carrie, we were just talking about how you sleep the other day and how like you're like, I mean, fan and all these like lights and all this other stuff.
Vampire
like,
movies.
Vampire movies, like. But I love that, like that, how different you are. Again,
Crypt Keeper.
I love that. By the way, I really love that because I think if I find somebody just like me, like exactly like me, we'd probably like clash, like with all. But so actually, well, my ex-husband, like he and I are a little bit more alike. Probably not like the surface personality, but we're both like obnoxious. And we used to say like if we had kids, the kids would be either mute or because they can't get a word in.
Hilarious.
That would work. That would just keep talking. The kid would either be mute or a serial killer. I don't know where the serial killer came from, but other than like we're both like very passionate and like stubborn,
Fiery,
you know, like that could be a possibility. I don't know, like all that, but you guys are great. So yeah, I love watching you guys work together. I love watching what you've built together. It's very inspiring. It makes me less jaded about life and possibly working with another person. I'm just being real, you know. It's like it's really cool to see because it's really, really, really difficult. It's really difficult.
It is. It's hard, for sure. But I mean, I just got really lucky with such an amazing, like, talented dude, and he's even on
cool
absolutely
dude.
no sleep. Like he's still like is pretty coherent and lucid and.
Might not remember everything, but
No, but I mean,
see, this
you're
is
not
like,
a dick.
You might not remember not being a dick, but you weren't a dick. You did not
Exactly.
know.
hopefully not. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, seriously, like, thank you for fitting me in that extra small tail. Like I said, I'm gonna find that video because I thought it was hilarious. I've never been shook that much into something to fit in. I mean, like, hello, that
They're
was
not
so.
easy to get into.
It wasn't. It's so funny. Holy
I
shit.
stuffed a lot of.
What we do for art. We either don't sleep, we try to fit in an extra small. I'm not extra. I'm small, but I'm not extra small. Girl, what were you thinking?
You were fine in that
I
tail.
know.
Your
It was-
abs were popping. It
once
was
I was
fine,
in
people.
it,
It was
It
fine.
was, yeah, it was like, how do you suck in your thighs? It's like something different.
It's like making sausage. There's just an unglamorous part to it. And then it's all good. It's all good. It's breakfast
See, and she's
delicious.
not even a chef and she knew what it's like to make a sausage. all the chorizos that you've been making, she kind of like, okay, I know the language. I might not have to
Right.
study.
It's not a euphemism.
Yeah. So anyway, so what are, like, if you have any, I mean, you were talking about the some of the changes, but if you can just summarize certain things that you feel like, okay, if you're gonna start something like this, and you're starting from the heart, right? Because not everybody goes into the business with that intention. But if you are going to start a business based on your passion, like some key points that you think that people should keep in mind, because we want people to not just survive, but hopefully, you know, do as well as you did. And you know, that's one of the things that we do. I think that I always say that we stand on our forefathers or people who came before us on their shoulders, you know, and now you're that. Honestly, now you've experienced it, and one of the things that I think that you can impart with people who want to do something like this is just like, hey, key points to remember that I made these mistakes, or learn these lessons and have fun.
I think something that's really important is just, even when it feels like things aren't going that great, like if you don't keep pushing it, won't go great. Like it'll stop. We pushed through a lot of really hard times and hours we didn't think we'd make it through, like just too much work, and you just kind of have to keep going no matter what.
Yeah.
There was one week we took showers in our work clothes because we couldn't do both, so we combined the laundry with the showers.
Couldn't get laundry done. Too tired. Just like, let's just shower in the clothes, put the soap on. It's
Yeah.
good to go.
Holy
Just do what you
shit,
gotta
that
do to get
story.
through, and I mean, if you're really doing it all from passion and cooking, like it's not all numbers in business. Like you're gonna have those moments where you're just kind of doing it stupid, but in the long run, it's worth it. And you just gotta learn to work smart. That's my big thing I've learned from all this. Work smart and
Yeah.
try not to work so hard.
Yeah, and I'm still learning that, to be honest.
me
Like,
too.
yeah, and we're gonna continue to learn, because there's always a new challenge. And I think if there's anything that we need to always have with us, is that to learn how to pivot each time, because there's always gonna be a fucking curveball.
Always.
No matter how well you think you planned, there's a fucking curveball, like fucking shit. You know? And then instead of like giving up, like you said, like holy shit, we won't make it, just keep going.
Gotta figure it out.
Because if you don't, that's the end of that business or whatever that endeavor is. And again, the backbone and the perseverance and the resilience does not just magically happen. You actually have to will it. You know, one of my favorite guests, he said, is like, you know, people sometimes don't know the value of sacrifice, and there is that, like fucking doing your laundry while taking a shower. I mean, I joined a gym that I never worked out of just so I could take a shower at Planet, what do you call it? Planet Fitness. Because it's like, yeah, I joined the gym. I never once worked out there. But I would go in there and take a shower because I couldn't make it home to Maui to take a shower. So it's like, while I'm doing errands, we're going to go to Costco anyways. We're going to go that direction. Let's go to Planet Fitness, take a shower, and then we go to Costco all fresh smelling. You know, not smelling like the donuts from the day before. You know, but you just have to like deal with that if you're building from that passion. You know, and I've heard people, I've seen people quit because they, I'm sorry, it's not fun to do your laundry while you're showering.
I was pretty proud of our ingenuity.
Yes! Yeah, and that's true. You have to be kind of ingenious about like freaking, how do you deal with this shit? Like, I used to take a shower like this. I was like, I'm done. Yeah, I was like, don't like, yeah, don't pick on me, but like, I probably miss a spot. But yeah, it had to be done.
I think you have to be really authentic too. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why you're so successful, and I think that's one of the reasons why he's so successful, is because you have to really believe in that dream and be really authentic, because there are days when it's going to be hard. And if you're true to yourself and if you really believe in your dream, it's going to be easier to push through those days than when you're just doing it for the numbers or doing it like... I saw this guy on Facebook in one of the Maui restaurant groups I'm in who's like, what do you think people would buy more, Mexican or Korean? And it's like, what do you want to cook more? Like, where's your passion?
Yeah.
Like,
it's kind of like when you see a menu and there's no direction to it. It's just like they're serving burgers and Chinese food and Korean food and all this. And maybe they're really good at all of that stuff. I don't know. But when I usually when I see a menu like that, I was like, are you just trying to sell something that you think that you have a market for so that you can hit every demographic? Because when you do that, I don't think anything will be so focused and be authentic.
Somebody love,
you know. And I think it's so important. I was actually just saying that to somebody recently that my best success is when I'm most real, and in fact I learned that basically when I quit my job, was that 6 years ago? That's basically my thing. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew is that I know myself, and I know what I wanted to make. And the more authentic I got, the more I allowed myself to be authentic. I guess is what I mean. It's like, because, you know, sometimes you think that you have to adjust, and you know, you do to kind of coexist with other people and other businesses, for sure.
Try
you
to
know.
change a few things up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't cook everything the way I would at home.
Exactly, because, you know, you have to make sure it's
Lots of vegetarians and vegans.
I know,
cook
like-
everything with fat. So.
Yeah, I mean, Mexican, you fucking know lard, man. That's like a fucking magic fat, you know, it's lard. And again, I am so all for lard because
I'll be bringing you some soon.
oh my god, we were talking about that. Lard is magic. And also, I think that people think that lard is like, oh my god, it's gonna clog your arteries. It's so silly because margarine is gonna do that worse for you. So I think it's stupid when people think that an alternative is gonna be better. I mean, sometimes, but generally speaking, the authentic, real things are better for you. It's just that what we need to learn is discipline.
How to source them too.
How to source
Get
them.
the Malama Farms pork. They eat, you know, fruit, vegetables,
Yeah.
nice grain. It's not.
It's the schooling that I
Kitchen
think got
stuff.
lost along through, you know, like mass production is like, okay, what's the most efficient way to mass produce anything? And nobody studied or cared about the fact that to mass produce, you're gonna have a lower quality product. You have more, but it's lower quality. So to me, it's like, if it's real butter, I'd rather have that than like fake shortening, right? But we went through a phase, I think, in our culture where it's like, it's faster, it's
Science.
it's science, and I freaking hated that.
Years.
And actually, one of my previous guests as well is Sunny Savage, for example, right? And I love talking to her about like foraging, and now like there's always like, oh, if it doesn't have the USDA label or whatever, it must not be food. I was like, fuck you. The reason why we exist as humankind is we learned how to live off of the land.
Shouldn't be like, yeah.
It doesn't need.
Don't even get me started on the venison.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm like a hunter now because of that. Like, holy shit! When people are complaining or afraid that spam's not gonna make it to Hawaii, I mean, they didn't quite spell it out that way, but that's basically the scare, is that you're not gonna have your canned food shipped here. I'm like, look at all these healthy, beautiful meat.
Delicious. Best deer ever.
Ever! I mean, I got into that like freaking hunting because of that. Like, and I rarely, to be honest, I rarely buy meat. I have a neighbor who usually fishes and hunts, and I get actually shit. I forgot he was supposed to drop off some. He was drying some aku yesterday, and like, again, the community that we have here, we take care of each other, you know. And fucking venison. That's kind of one of my dreams, is to like have a proper kitchen that we can manufacture and like, you know, break down a wild animal here.
Yeah.
Because that is one thing, and I'm sure if I'm not going to do it, somebody else will, because I feel like it's much needed, and I think there should be a way to serve these beautiful meats. And like,
That was one of my favorite things. Is I love butchering. I love breaking down fish. And,
yeah,
getting the whole pigs. You get so many different parts. You can do so many different things with.
absolutely. Yeah, the whole nose to tail cooking is not a trend. It's actually a real way of life that we can really we can teach to people. I mean, I grew up with that as well, where we raised everything, and my mom would make the sausages, so nothing was wasted, right? So the intestines and stuff like that. It annoys me when people are like, I see that blood or whatever. It's like, if you eat meat, the body parts and all this other, like, you should eat that. Like, there's nothing wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're gonna make sausage, would you prefer to use the plastic, whatever shit that they put in it, casing, when you can use the intestines that your body can actually absorb and digest, and it's natural. And you know, so my mom used to. It's actually funny looking back. Like, would butcher the whole pig, and of course she'd clean the intestines and wash it and all that, run it through water, and then she would hang it in the same place where we hung our clothes, the same clothesline to dry out, and then later we'll make sausages and be hanging on our ceiling. I mean, it's just, look, looking back as a kid, you know, with your grandparents and stuff like that, you know, you didn't even think anything of it. But how lucky are we that we experienced that, so that way we can make our food the way we do now, so authentically. And I think, again, that's part of our success. Sorry, I just looked at your boobs. I'm sorry, I don't mean to, but it's so nice.
Sneaked a few peeks tonight.
Yeah. Thank you, tacos. the weight that you lost went to her boobs.
Yeah,
I
it
love
works.
it. We all love it. But yeah, anyways, we are able to make our food authentically because we got to have that experience, and I think that's nice that you. I love that you continued that and like pass it on in some way.
That's
or
what I
another.
tried to base all the flavors off of. Is I mean, I didn't necessarily have recipes from the family for everything, so I
Yeah.
just try to create the same flavors I had.
Yeah.
Grabbing grandma's tortillas every morning over there, you know, was
Yeah.
my favorite thing. Just grab them fresh off the grill and
Yeah.
chorizo and eggs.
That memory, and
Yeah.
I love that. So one of the things I kind of forgot is that my grandma used to sell these rice cakes in the Philippines in the market, and I remember starting at the swap meet, and somehow something about it felt familiar, you know, about starting small and just doing your thing, and then you get known for it. So my grandma was known for her rice cakes, and again, it's just like the norm thing, so I didn't even think about it until later. I was like, oh, that's why I was inclined to just like focus on something, and then I got known for the donuts, and you know, I'm like a legend for the donuts on Maui, and she was as well. And I was like, huh, I carried that with me, you know.
That's
it's-
awesome.
Yeah, and again, being authentic is so rare. I did not realize that, or I wasn't thinking that when I was just kind of just doing my thing, and I heard that a lot. Like people were just like, you're just so authentic and it's so rare, and it's like, huh. And then yeah, once I thought about it, I was like, how many people really put themselves out there as bare as we do?
And people can smell it.
Yeah.
They can smell
They
it
can
on you.
smell the taco on you. They can smell the donut on
Unfortunately, you
me.
can't smell the tacos
You
on
know,
me.
and you know what? We should bottle that. We should put our name on it. Just kidding. But yeah, that's one of the things that I hear a lot from people, or heard a lot from people, and then I realized that that's what's special about what we do. And I think there's a certain vulnerability when you allow yourself to be authentic, because whether it be like working the way that you do that makes you like, you know, endangers your health and sanity, that's part of the vulnerability. But also like as a person, if you're putting yourself out there and telling your story, sometimes, you know, it's like it just it could be a scary thing for people, because we're so used to, I think, generally the culture of like masking ourselves to be proper or to be accepted or whatever. I mean, for you to bring in your upbringing.
For me, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I love food.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's
mean, I don't know
basically
how
a
to
religion.
hide who I am or anything, but like even, I think it's more about almost breaking down stereotypes in my case, because doing sushi, you don't know how many people wouldn't sit in front of me because I'm not Japanese.
Yeah.
Like, oh, a white guy doing sushi? I'm
Yeah,
not gonna sit
right
over
away,
there.
yeah.
And same with the Mexican truck, you know. White guy doing Mexican, don't.
Exactly.
You know,
You
it's
can't- I
probably
mean,
not
that's
that
what's
good.
funny about you. Sorry, but it's
Yeah.
really funny because it's kind of like me. In some way, people are like, they don't trust me. They don't think I eat my donuts because I don't look like I eat donuts. Like, fuck, I do. I am poor. I will eat whatever. I have a lot of, like, when people forget to or cannot pick up their orders. Are you kidding me? I'm so happy I get to eat my donuts.
That cantaloupe was pretty delicious.
Thank you. Right? Wasn't it
It's
fun?
good flavor.
It's
I
so
can see
unique.
you like right fresh in these.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
good.
yeah. Cannoli is kind of one of my other obsessions because it's just like so unique, and you cannot bake it properly unless you have the right mold. I'll show you later when we get my molds work. But anyways, what time is it? Because I can go crazy. Oh, like, oh my god, sorry. See, this is what happens because the fun thing is I invite my friends, and because I hadn't seen you guys in a while outside, we're like, hey, whatever. And I mean, Carrie and I, like, we haven't hung out, so I know it was way past your bedtime before we even started this
It was
podcast.
worth it. You had champagne.
Yes, I know,
been a
right?
while, yeah.
Give you a little bit of bubbly, and I mean, you had 8 day off for once.
It's been nice.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you. That's why I was like, yes, I don't feel like getting that nap, and because then I got to take advantage of you tonight. But yes, so any last words before we part ways with our audience tonight? Because again,
Just thank you to all of Maui for supporting and coming down to enjoy the food. It's been amazing.
yeah,
It's been awesome. We've gotten to do a lot more than a lot of people have gotten out here. I mean, a decade in paradise. I mean, who can complain? We've gotten to see and do a lot, and now we've got about 10 weeks to pack up and go into full-on tourist mode. So
yes,
Take
Get
a little time
those-
to enjoy ourselves. And then
enjoy.
pull holos in, those last tourst things.
Yeah.
Get a big freaking tattoo of Maui Island right
Right in your butt cheek.
Let's do it.
A Corobono pork, like on your butt cheek, you know. But yeah, no, seriously, guys, thank you for being on the show. But really, thank you for what you created, because it is inspiring. And just just watching you both, it's inspiring to me. And it really means a lot to me that you came tonight and talked story with me, but also like just shared your story, because we need it. Even for me, just constantly we need inspiration. I don't care how driven you think you are. We draw energies from other people, and one of the things I love about this podcast that you said is that talking to people who have about their passion and reminding me why I started this and why we keep doing what we do, and hopefully we inspire other people to be true to themselves and work a little bit harder to make that dream happen, you know, and build that backbone, because that's the only way.
Yes.
So, anyways, thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight. I go a little crazy because I get to hang out with my friends and it's so much fun. But if you're watching us live on YouTube tonight, I will be back next week, same time, 9:01, because it's fun to be a little late fashionably. And I may or may not be back at midnight tonight to do my little karaoke. We'll see what happens. But again, I want to thank my guests tonight, and I want to thank everybody, and thank you, Maui, for supporting my friends from Haolepeños. And of course, we want them back in a few. We're looking forward to that. But again, thank you, and everybody say aloha.